Hello, it's May 3rd, 2017. I'm Tony Smario, coming to you from my father BroSal.org YouTube channel. And I wanted to do another End Times Trending spontaneously today, even though I'm really trying to get a Bible study together. So those that are looking, that I know follow the Bible study, I'm working on that, but I've been studying a lot of stuff because I feel one of the most important things I found that I have to say in this world is to point out the lie that the occult are sucking people into their world with, this apparent knowledge that they have that looks so actual to the world that's following, say, the times, what the times are doing, and they're the hip ones, they're in the know. They have the good jobs, they have the good careers, they get ahead, and they're being taught a certain, what I went into in this last commentary about externalization of the hierarchy. I truly believe that's what's happening. They're externalizing the way they really feel and the type of world that's going to be their world, this new age that's coming, this new world order. What it actually says on the dollar bill is New Order of the Ages, because it's a golden age that's coming. So I've been studying a lot of this occult knowledge to get to the bottom of the lie, this as above, so below. And as I spoke last week, I don't think that's true. And I think that now that I've seen the nature of the lie in trying to pretend that it's a balance of opposites, instead of more like a mold with a positive and a negative image. And you no more get two positive images suddenly that are battling each other, then you get the balance of the two as the reason for the mold. The mold is to reproduce the positive image. So what's above must be the positive image, which, let's hope, is not darkness and evil, but light and good. Love is what I portend. It is love. And the idea of love that is happening in the universe, that God is love, as John said. But the occultists have turned that into this balance of opposites. Black and white, good and evil are all things that are opposing forces. And what's above is simply the harmony of that opposition. And in my own metaphysic, it's actually that what's above is the pure light and the pure good. And the only way for that to be known is for it to be differentiated into what is not pure light, in other words, darkness, and what is not God, which is evil. And that can only come from this pure good and pure light being differentiated so that it can be known, so that we get the allegory, the story, the poem, the legend, the myth. I mean, can't you get your mind around something more than words on a page, which you have to suspect, don't come to you in absolute clarity. The clarity is a spiritual clarity that comes from within, in putting all of the words together into the story of, to recognize the Spirit of God. What did Jesus tell the Pharisees? If you believed in Moses, you'd believe in me. If you loved God, you would know me. That's what he told them. If you really loved God, you'd know who I am. You'd see in the way I am and who I am, that God's Spirit's in me, and I'm that different one. I don't want nothing. I'm not taking nothing. I can work miracles. I got power. But am I using it to take over? Only when I drove you son of a guns out of the temple, right? He braided a whip and drove them out of the temple, knocked over all their money. Come on. How many big tough guys out there listening to me are going to let somebody knock over your money? Right? So imagine the power that it looked like he must have had in that moment, and his, righteous anger being displayed in a way that, at least as the story goes, and it sounds like one of those historical narratives, why shouldn't we believe? If we're going to believe in Jesus Christ and this power displayed by God in all signs and wonders, from a child, he was blowing the minds of the Pharisees because he knew so much about the Scripture. So when you pull all the story together, you have this something, of course, completely different from what the world imagines. And that's what we do the Bible study about. But what I want to say today is that I'm studying this occult knowledge and just as something different. I don't know how I found this Richie from Boston. And I just subscribed to him because I spent a lot of time listening to his stuff, and he strikes me as a real person. And I don't know if it's true anymore because he's got the wrong story. He's pushing this CERN's going to open up a porthole to hell and they're going to let demons out. And I notice how popular that is among the Christian truth movement on the internet. They all think they're onto this. CERN's going to open up a portal to let demons in it. You know, and someone like me who's been studying the Bible all my life and now has a real perspective of the whole story, I don't find any that in there anywhere where man has this sort of capability to put anyone in the pit or let anyone out of the pit. Anytime that's spoken of, it's always God that gives the command. Some angel may carry it out, but you don't find man in on it at all. And so they teach this Tower of Babel, these modern truthers like Richie from Boston, who I'm hoping is a real guy, but we'll see. They teach this Tower of Babel like it was a real place, you know? Nimrod. Okay, start building the bricks, guys. Let's start collecting the bricks because we've been enlightened by the fallen angels. We have the divine knowledge, and what that tells us is build a physical structure up into space until we reach heaven. Really? Really? I mean, come on, you guys. Does it take much thought against the wisdom of the occult, if you knew any of it, to realize that's why they look smart and Christians look stupid? Because they know these things are allegories for the fact that man had already come together to be able to become his own God, which is what the story's about, man becoming his own God. And so what's trending right now is about a lot of false information about fallen angels and CERN opening portals. And come on, man, this is so obviously fed to us. They make it obvious in their symbols, just like the movie stars. And if you read Morals and Dogmas, you see clearly that the point of it was to deceive the lowest people all the way up to the 30th degree. That everybody would be told what the symbols meant, but it would be a deception. They don't really mean that. That's not really what it means. And they're supposed to be deceived by it. So if you think these rock stars actually know the truth that the 33rd degree Masons do, I doubt it. That's why they want to get up there. They want to know what the truth is because they know those guys not only have something, they have the power. They're the people that run the world. What they say goes, and they're beyond anyone's touch. And if you're in that game to be the top dog at something, well, that is the path. You become a 33rd degree Mason, you're let in on the secrets, and you will be the top dog in anything that you are pursuing. So you have to ask yourself, what are they teaching people? We're all going to become transhuman. We're all going to be alien. Aliens are coming. We're going to, no. I don't know. I look at history and look at these royals and look at these Rothschilds and look at these people that run everything. They've never acted that. The secrets coming down from Egypt don't seem to be that aliens are going to come and change people into transhumans, and all this kind of crap seems to be what comes out in Hollywood so that the symbols can be misunderstood. You don't know what their pyramid means. You don't know what the Eye of Lucifer is. You know it's the Eye of Lucifer, of course. You just don't know what it means. And so that's what's really trending, as far as I'm concerned, I guess in reflection of the other side of the coin of what I talked about last week. Last week was externalization of the hierarchy, which is the fact that what we see in all this symbolism and from every level is showing us, presidents go to Bohemian Grove. yeah, all these people are pedophiles. They're Luciferians. They worship temples. I mean, they worship pyramids, and they believe in the Egyptian stories of Osiris, and that's what we're being shown, that these are the stories these people believe in. This is where the truth lies. Do you think because of that you know the truth? They've been saving that truth for the people that work their way up into it. So the other side of the externalization of the hierarchy is the delusionment of the masses through all of this truth movement. Because they're putting out the truth, but they're putting out the way they want it to be seen. And I say they want people like Richie from Boston to be talking about aliens and CERN opening portals to hell. Because none of that's got anything at all to do with what's coming. What's coming is peace. Nobody's talking about the fact that what the scripture really says is wars and rumors of wars, but don't be alarmed at that. Why? Find me something in scripture about aliens. Did Jesus just miss that part, Richie? Did Jesus just miss the fact that it was really going to all be an alien invasion? You know, Lucifer's idea is that he's beautiful. He's good. He's goodness. He's light. And he's the father of lies. But what kind of lies? Blatant, outright, black is white and white is black lies? I don't know. It says he's the subtle one. Subtle. So that's an odd name to be called if you're running around with red-tailed pitchfork devil horns. Everybody hate Jesus. That doesn't sound like a very subtle. So I have to think that all that is but part of the misrepresentation on purpose so that the masses can be led into misunderstanding their signs and symbols. That way they're so predictable, so perfectly predictable, so that, I honestly think that behind it all, they have this feeling that anyone, I suppose it's almost like the opposite. If you want to get into this idea that there's a Luciferian reality in which there's a Lucifer or Satan who wants to become God instead of God, even though not much of that in there to support. He doesn't tell them in the garden, follow me, I'll take you to the highest heaven. He says, God knows if you eat that fruit, you'll know good from evil, and then you'll be like God. And, what is really the most common esoteric understanding of the Kabbalah? Well, that we are God. We are part of the divine. We are on our way to our own godhood. So that sounds more like in line with the reality of the scripture to me than aliens, transhumanism. All this stuff sounds like utter deception, and I keep trying to get to the bottom of, are people like Richie from Boston really just, is it all actors out there like these false flags we see, where everybody's just a hired friggin' actor pretending to be real, but no one really is? And so I don't know if you guys, you 50, 60 people that seem to really come every week, and I really appreciate that as much as it's, this Richie from Boston has about 70,000 plus subscribers, and we are one. I subscribe, so you can go check out his stuff. Tell me what you think. And he gets tens of thousands of views on everything he says, even stuff that, as I say, I find just more preposterous guessing, following the lead of the modern truth movement, and really not getting underneath any deeper reason for it all, except that they're going to open this portal and let devils out. But is that what the scripture says? They quote Revelation, but they skip over everything Jesus said about wars and rumors of wars. But don't be alarmed at that. They skip over what Daniel says about this temple that's going to be there and this prince that comes that destroys the city and the sanctuary. They skip over what Paul says about they got to say peace and safety, and then sudden destruction comes. Nothing about they're going to be saying aliens and future, nothing about that. I can't find anything in the scripture about any of that. And in history, I can't find anything that doesn't come from them, the people lying to us. And so I'm trying to find out if this Richie from Boston is confused, because I've written to so many of these people over the last couple of years. I mostly either get ridiculed or ignored. And that Adapt 2030, David, who I disagree with, I think perhaps he's just either selling a story that he got onto and has never done the research, or he's a shill selling this ice age, because he will not confront the reality of the money they spend on atmospheric heaters all over the world. HAARP's just the first one, you guys. There's atmospheric heaters all over the world. And the spraying all over the skies. And what does that mean? We know they can manipulate the jet stream. We know they can cause snowstorms, rainstorms. They can move. They can break up storms. We know they can do that. And I was just watching a mainstream media thing today about the people starving over in Somalia. They're starving to death in Somalia now because it's been 3 years with no rain. So they don't have water. They have to have water trucked in. And of course, with all our billionaires like Soros that do so much good in the world, man, you don't hear about how we're helping these people, how we're putting money into our weather programs to go make it friggin' rain over there, since we know we can do it. So all of this, nobody wants to take account of all of the information. Everybody's got this stupid little story they're following. And it's just really starting to demonstrate to me that maybe that's the reason I get 50 views and 100 views, is because they just can't have people hearing this. It's like indigenous stuff. You can't have people hearing indigenous stuff because it's going to make too much sense against your materialistic, enslavement of the, modern society. And so you just can't have people hearing it. And so I really appreciate that small group. As I say, even though this guy's got 70,000 subscribers telling people that it's CERN's opening portals to hell, and he's a Christian. So he apparently doesn't know his scripture very well, but I've got 50 or 60 people that seem to listen week in and week out. And as one person wrote, one of those people that seems to listen regularly, hey, having 50, 60 people come to your, I don't want to call it a church, come to your commentary is pretty cool. It says something for the story, because the story I'm telling is the one no one's telling, so I sound like the biggest tinfoil hat crazy out there, because I'm trying to point out something that no one's pointing out. And yet there's, a few dozen of you. And that's grown over the last couple of years. So it's not like these are all my friends that started with me. I hardly know any of you. And so I tell you, if you want to know the truth for yourself, here's what I thought. I would really love to see all of you go watch anything from Richie from Boston, especially the newer stuff. That way the most recent thing, if you can get in on the comments early enough, perhaps he'll actually see it. And don't link anything, because I've seen in one of his videos, this guy gets 15,000 spam comments of people trying to link something to him. So don't link anything to him. Just go to Richie from Boston and comment on his show and say, I've been listening to BroSal, who I know has been commenting on your channel. I think you should check out his story. So it would really impress me if you guys would do that, not just for this channel, because it would sure help if this guy was a real Christian and he really got the truth. He could use his exposure to actually start selling the right story instead of misleading people with all this crap that everybody else is misleading people with. So at this point, I'm still skeptical that anything is real anymore, that the internet wasn't set up as absolute control, but I feel that within that control has to be that the give and take. There has to be some fluidity in there, or else you risk ultimate revolt, which you can't have. And so I think the fluidity is all built into it so that it's possible for people like me to be heard. If my voice ever became even the beginning of a threat, they would certainly just shut it down, shut me off the internet, kill me. Come on. For them, they're going to run their world their way, and I'm not going to stop it. You and I aren't going to stop it. But, if everybody went over there and wrote Richie from Boston and said, you should really listen to BroSal. His perspective's different. Prove him wrong. That's what I keep asking these guys. Prove me wrong. Show me where I've misunderstood, because I see your story. It's all the same. You don't understand the occult. You don't understand their teachers. I mean, their teachers aren't these rock stars, right? Their teachers are, morals and dogma. And the other big guy there is slipping my mind at the moment because my head's just so full. The biggest teacher of them all. You could just search that. The biggest Masonic teacher of them all. He's the one that'll come up. I've been listening to some of his stuff. Sounds like a really smart guy. Sounds intelligent, sensitive, aware. So what's the subtle lie? What's the subtle lie? Aliens and, oh my goodness. So I'm trying to, get this word out. And obviously we're not going to get it out on this channel. Not in this modern world. Nobody's listening to this channel. But they're listening to Richie from Boston. And he really does just seem like a good old boy Christian. I mean, I don't know. He's either an excellent actor, which at this point I'm skeptical, guys. He hasn't written me back, but maybe he doesn't get the message. That's why I'm asking you guys. Write Richie from Boston. Tell him to check out BroSal. Okay? So what's trending right now is misinformation. And it's all, of course, the truth movement. And it's all these people that I'm subscribed to. I keep reflecting that every single one of them is misinformation. The guy about the earthquakes is nothing but hype and keeps people listening, keeps people distracted. There's not a word in there about anything that's really going on in the world. Just keep being scared and tracking earthquakes. Nothing actually ever has come about that except he predicts where they'll happen. Well, sure, because, and how do we, all these numbers on a screen, Italy appeared to have an earthquake when buildings fell down and all. That's an earthquake, isn't it? Volcanoes erupt, and we see that, don't we? You can't miss that. People all around put videos up on every social media. Holy mackerel, it happened in my backyard. And when that happens, that's hard to fake. When there's video from everybody all over the particular location, I felt the earthquake, I felt the earthquake, I felt the earthquake, I felt the earthquake. Here's my video coverage of the volcano. Here's my video coverage. Well, that's hard for me to scoff at. That looks like good information. But this guy with his earthquake forecast and all his pictures and all his official websites like NASA or whatever. Yeah, obviously, if you were there just to distract people as another distraction, well, then certainly your story would line up with the graphics. But what the hell does it all mean? Not a friggin' thing. Not a thing. Caspian Report, same thing. Mainstream storyline. Just deep insight rather than getting a soundbite of 3 seconds about what's going on in India or Brazil or somewhere. You get a full 20, 30 minutes of BS about the geopolitical situation that's going on there. Never do you get the insight that that geopolitical situation has been manufactured and could be changed at a moment's notice, which has to do with a bigger picture. No insight into that bigger picture from him. Who else we got there? Mr. Doom is my favorite because it just simply has clips of all the BS talking head news coverage in the world, so I get to see what the BS is without hearing people that pretend to be real but aren't. Then Richie from Boston, I've been talking about, I just subscribed to him. Sheikh Imran Hossein, who I've been pumping up for 2 years since I found him. I'll tell you, here's my thing on the Sheikh. Love his story, love his vibe and his insight, except, of course, he's a religious man who's sending everybody to hell that doesn't obey Allah. But other than that, his eschatology, his understanding of economics is very solid. His story is very solid. But he's written me back. Here's a man who gives his email for anyone to write him. And I can only imagine the man gets hundreds, if not thousands of emails, and he wrote me back. And I tried to tell him, I'm a Christian eschatologist. I've got these sort of insights that I've been watching you for 2 years. I know your story. I got some things. I've got students of yours that listen to me that tell me in my comments, you and I should have a conversation. And we went back and forth a few times, but old Imram's he's set on his story. And I can understand he doesn't have the time and the energy to entertain every other story. I'm sorry that he doesn't have the energy or the vision to see the potential for us to discuss something to the benefit of everyone. I really think he and I could have a great discussion. But again, of all my subscriptions, here's a guy who's calling for World War III right now. He's not seeing peace. He's not seeing peace first. He's telling people buy gold and silver to protect yourself when the war happens. And I've been writing him for a while saying, I don't get how that helps. If these guys have already outlawed the use of gold everywhere in the world, when they take ultimate control, you think they're going to let you use gold? You don't think they're going to make it illegal for your protection, of course, so that we don't get any criminal market, blah, blah, blah. Nobody can trade gold. You have to turn it in, and they will give you the set rate. And you think that set rate will be fantastic, huh? So I think the gold and silver thing's a big trap, because when the whole monetary system starts over, they're just going to use it to confiscate your gold. And right now they're confiscating your money while you're buying it because you can't use it now. You're just saving it for when they take it from you. So that's my view of it, and it's different from the sheiks, and I don't know that I'm right. I just thought it'd be interesting for guys like us to talk about that, but you don't want to talk to me. So I just find it interesting, and these other guys are sort of stand your ground studios. I only stay subscribed because there was a few things at his site that I thought were interesting and had some insight, but he's another one of these Christians sending people to hell. You got to find Jesus or you're going to hell. So I don't agree with most of what he's talking about. Timeline Media, and Truth Media Revolution. These guys seem to be, for me, independent researchers trying to dig up truth. And I just want people to see that, these are different channels I've been going to see what they dig up and what they have to say and weighing it against my own investigation. I don't want anybody to think I agree with any of these people. Adapt 2030, I thought he had such a great story, this mini ice age, but the guy will not answer for the fact that we have the same mini ice age scare 45 years ago. What science did those guys have? What do we have that they didn't have? Certainly if this is trends from thousands of years, these ice ages, these minimums, these Maunder minimums, they knew those patterns. So if they were predicting an ice age 45 years ago, what evidence were they using? You mean the same evidence you're using? And ignoring the fact that they now can control or at least manipulate the weather to a great degree. And is this playing into these severe weather anomalies? When we get snow in the wrong place at the wrong time, rain in the middle of Australia at Ayers Rock, is that because of sunspots? Or is that because we're manipulating the weather? Why won't this guy cop to the fact that you have to answer for the weather manipulation if you're going to get anyone with a brain to believe that it's all about sunspots? Show me that the weather what are they doing with that as the sunspots are creating this ice age? How are these things working, since you got to figure the guys that are spraying the skies and building the atmospheric heaters, they certainly know the science. They know more than this guy Adapt 2030. So why are they building this stuff even though they know an ice age is coming? I'm happy to see a reconciliation. An ice age really is coming. So they're building it because of that. Why won't this guy show me the connection? Why wouldn't he be intimately interested in that connection, since it's an obvious, it has to do with the whole weather manipulation capability of all this instrumentation that they've built. Are they trying to stop the ice age? Are they trying to bring it on faster? Are they trying to capitalize from it? Are they trying to save the world from it or destroy the world with it? How come you can't fit the obvious thing that we can all see with your story that we can't see? You're just telling us an ice age story, but you're not backing it up with anything but this evidence we have to assume they knew 45 years ago and we didn't get hit with the ice age they were promising us then. So anyway, I'm just starting to see that the misinformation is even on the most sophisticated looking channels. Even the most honest looking people are either duped into selling the wrong story, or they are really all set up out there. It's really, since the internet was installed, they've been, training the people were already there to fill the internet with all the stuff they wanted in the internet before they let the internet loose. That makes sense. As I say, is Richie from Boston real? He's my latest subscription. I really wish you guys would write to him. I know there's only 3 or 4 of you that ever write to me, and I find that a little bit, I don't know, it's a little offensive at this point, because there's 50 or 60 of you that listen every week. And I've asked you for your opinion. I've asked you to speak up and just say, I'm here, but you don't want to identify yourself. And okay. So, I don't know. I guess that's, it's just weak. It's just a weak vision of yourself and of your faith in anything, whether it's God or yourself. It's just a weak faith. And that's okay. I've got weak faith too. We all do. That's why we needed redemption, or that. That's a weird way to say it because it sounds so religious. The whole point of our existence is to be redeemed from whatever it is we're going through, because no one can overcome it in the flesh. You can't be good. There is none good but God, Jesus said. So we can't be good. And again, the occult lie is we can be good. We got to work at it. It's our responsibility to do it. Nothing about aliens. None of that crap. So, I don't know. I'm doing the best I can to just put some reality to the world I see. And I know that everybody's looking. Everybody's looking. And I don't know that pretty soon, I'm not going to change tack and go to a more personal. I'm going to start right. I'm halfway through still my Metaphysics of Love presentation, and now I realize I have to write another presentation about the lie of occultism, so that I can try and reach people that think the occult is the way to go and that they're so smart. And so, if I'm not going to affect anyone out here, but you same 50 or 60 people, well, you can come and listen to this stuff I've been saying now over and over and over till you get it, and then you can go teach people. But I keep hoping that somehow we can reach people. And I think that maybe I need to go out into the world and just start giving free presentations of my information. Because the third story, of course, I have is for Christianity, that they're full of crapola and they don't know their scripture and they don't follow Jesus at all. In fact, they're either part of the Laodicean church or even worse. They're just a misrepresentation of what Jesus is. And so I have 3 important presentations for the world as far as I see it. And you 50 or 60 people have been hearing it now long enough that you should be able to go teach it to your friends. And if not, it's all here. It's recorded on YouTube for as long as my father's channel remains in the world or in cyberspace. And so, I encourage you to write Richie from Boston, write me, keep me here teaching you, or I'm going to go do something else. And you guys can keep listening to all this crap about aliens and believe in Jesus or go to hell and, the devil, everybody's worshiping Satan. These are all the stupid lies that keep all the stupid masses following. And you guys are following something quite different. And if you can't get off your butt and write a simple comment to me and write a simple comment to Richie from Boston, well, you might be hearing the last of me pretty soon. I'm just warning y'all because it takes a lot. I'm studying for myself, and it doesn't take that much to record, except, well, it does. There's a surf's going on right now, and I'm sitting here recording for you guys. And it's because I really appreciate that there's a few dozen of you that are in there, and there's a few of you that are, that don't worry. Whatever I do, you'll get it'll be sent right to your mailbox. I just don't know if this YouTube channel's worth it. 100 views. So you want to help keep me here? Go write Richie from Boston. Tell him about BroSal. See if you can get him to write me. Or just do it. It doesn't matter. I want to see that we can have some effect, that what I'm saying is moving somebody. Because if it ain't moving you, well, then the 3 or 4 of you that it does move will do something else. Because I got a lot of other ideas to help people learn this stuff. And YouTube doesn't seem to be doing it. So it's time to sort of put up or stay shut up. And if we can't put some advertising out, if you're not going to put some money or life into it at all, well, then maybe 2 years is it. And you've got everything you need to know to wait for what's coming. So anyway, thank you so much for those that listen and the few of you that really do participate. You're the ones that you are responsible for this being available to the world. I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for the few of you that respond and that I see it makes a difference. You're intelligent people who have learned something for yourself. Whether I'm right or wrong, you found something for yourself. And you've supported this in both, in word and in deed. You've sent money where you didn't have to. And it's not easy. We're not on Patreon. We don't have the easiest videos to watch because they're not moving pictures. I'm talking through a $15 headset with a built-in mic into the cheapest laptop that's made. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that none of that matters. And so if you guys can't get behind what's real, well, then, I'm going to keep moving on to what is real. I'm going to go find people that are real. So, and the ones that start responding, I'm going to take you on the journey. The ones that stay silent, enjoy the YouTube because I'm getting kind of tired of it. So anyway, thanks for being here. Talk to you soon.